Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 3-hour program lined up today. We're going to hit all the bases. We have Stanley Cup Game 2 of the final coming up tonight. We'll talk about that from a betting perspective. Full-blown Major League Baseball card with props, best bets, and how to attack the Belmont tomorrow, the third leg of the third jewel of the Triple Crown, I should say. College World Series games in action and a full card this weekend as well. French Open, ongoing match right now with Sinner and Djokovic. And we will begin with the NBA Finals and the craziness that took place, Paulie, yet again with the Indiana Pacers. I mean, it's getting to the point now where it's almost predictable, right? Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times he, meaning Tyrese Halliburton, and they, the Indiana Pacers, have done this, and it's rarefied air that we're talking about here. We can run down all the numbers, but at some point last night, I never bet it, but I actually broke out the app or multiple apps, and I said to myself, if the number's big enough right now, they're not out of this game, I have to make a bet on Indiana. And the number wasn't big enough, so I never bet it. And I guess I left money on the table there. But they did it again. Nobody should be surprised, although it was the Thunder. And I think you're almost lying if you answer this question the way that I think that a lot of people would. And I think that they're being inaccurate and almost lying about it. If I told you right now or asked you, when Tyrese Halliburton put the shot up close to the buzzer, did you think the ball was going in? If you said no, or if you say no to that, I think you're lying. Because I thought it was going in, and I wasn't surprised for 1 second when it went through the net.
Yep. The comeback, cardiac kids, I've never seen anything like it. It's incredible. They led for 0.3 seconds. And to be there when they're down 15 or more in the playoffs, they're 5-3. Think about that.
Uh-huh.
Down 9 with 2:52. Teams were 0 and 121 going back in the finals. That down 7+ with the last 3 minutes. You play a horrendous half of basketball and set the record for turnovers, you still win the game.
Yep.
You're down 9 with 2:52 against the best team with this insane power rating that could win 84 games. You still win. You're 8-1 in clutch games. You've won 7 of 8 on the road. How about forget about the futures. How about if you just decided to jump in the last couple weeks? 10-point dog last night, outright. 6.5-point dog in the Garden, outright. 4-point dog in the Garden, outright. 8.5 twice in Cleveland, 5.5 in Cleveland, outright. I mean, they're just, it's ridiculous that you're 7-1 straight up, and look at what these point spreads are.
The box score makes no sense after last night's game.
Absolutely
none.
Yeah.
Right. They tied the biggest fourth quarter comeback final with a win in the last 50 years, and the 25 turnovers, like you talked about, tied for the most since 1976 by a team that won a finals game. The 1976 Celtics did that, and they went on to win the title. And so, down 7 against the Bucks, 39 seconds left, they won. Game 2 against the Cavs, down 7, 47 seconds left, they won. Game 1 against the Knicks, down 8, 41 seconds left, won the game. And last night against a 68-win regular season team, down 9, 2:52 to go, and they won. If you take Micah Adams, who used to work at ESPN, had a tweet, and I thought he was actually being sarcastic at first, but if he multiplied the win probabilities. So basically, the chances of Indiana coming back in all 4 of those games and winning, he said, was 1 in 75 million.
Oh, God. Sure.
Every game is 99.2% win probability or 98.1% for the other team.
Yep. OKC was 36-1 this year, up 15 or more at home. That big comeback you mentioned that tied the record, it was Dallas in 2011 against Miami. Who was the coach? Carlisle. There you go. I thought they had a big coaching edge going in, and it proved out in game 1. Doesn't mean the series over, but they have to be loving life. They stole one. They didn't play well. I can't believe what Daigneault did. You're 80-18. Why are you going small ball?
Why did he change his starting lineup?
I don't understand. And for Indiana to pound them on the boards, that might be the biggest upset.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, okay, you blew a lead. All right, that happened. Same thing happened in game 1 against Denver. You're up 9 with 2:50, you lose. 56-39 Indiana on the boards. And Holmgren plays 24 minutes and Hartenstein plays 17. What's that all about? What was he doing?
He's completely overthinking the room at this point, right? To tinker with the starting lineup and then to go small ball, especially late down the stretch. And, oh, by the way, like a guy like Lou Dort was having a ridiculous game, right? Offensively and defensively. That play that he made defensively late, as they said after the game, like that's an all-timer that they're going to put on the NBA Finals montage from here on out. I mean, if they win the series, you can bank on seeing that forever. Caruso was so good. Why was Dort not on the key guys for Indiana late in the game when they were making plays? Why was he not on Nembhard? Why was he not on Halliburton late in the final game? Why'd they have Wallace on him? Like, these little things like that never made any sense to me. And the small ball again, when you're getting absolutely piss-pounded on the boards.
Yep.
I will say that Chet was horrendous last night. It's one of the worst games I've ever seen him play.
Oh, he's terrible.
Now, this is not me talking. This is what people messaging me and texting me because they knew I had the Chet bet last night on the double-double and the win, and they lost. They said he's the most overrated player in the NBA. That's not me. I'm just the messenger here. I'm not going to go that far.
If there's a top 3 or top 5, he's on the list.
You think he's that bad?
Yes, he is.
That overrated.
All the commercials, all the hype. Yeah, absolutely.
I will say this. So that whole thing that we talked about yesterday, and I thought JVT had he did. It was a brilliant write-up with all the numbers, right? Just based on what we've seen to this point, Oklahoma City's offensive numbers when Chet's on the court by himself and there's no Hartenstein, they are elite. When it's both guys, they're not so great. It's like almost average. Last night, for one game anyway, I know who the better player was. It was Hartenstein, and it wasn't even close. And he only played the 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that whole angle of there might not be an angle here for Hartenstein in the series, which should make Holmgren shine. Maybe it's the exact opposite. But the stuff that he did down the stretch was completely asinine when you're getting out-rebounded by 17 points, by the way, against a bad rebounding team, Paulie.
And they sat back trying to protect the lead as well and playing not to lose. SGA took too many shots.
Way too many shots.
You got to get others involved. It's also not efficient. 38 points on 30 shots. You get that game out of Dort and Caruso, you still lose. Indiana, 18 of 39 from 3. Hello. This is going to continue. This is who they are. Number 1 3-point shooting team in the playoffs. And the lead should have been much bigger than 12 at halftime with those 19 turnovers. And 25-7 for the game, and yet OKC was only up 12 at the half, and then 14 steals to 1. Another huge play was the Turner bank, which I don't even know if he could do that again if I gave him 100 chances.
I know it.
To kiss it in from that angle. But they make all the plays down the stretch as they always do. OKC gags. They said, well, we've been here before, but how do you, I know it's been said by many people. Look at the point spread in game 2. How many? Who wants to rush and lay 11 with this team?
Well,
now?
I think people are because I did see like 10.5, and that number's gone.
Well, they
so
did
turn
play
into
out
11.5.
Yeah, play similar fashion in the Denver series. They gagged away game 1 and then had an all-time performance in game 2. But it's just people keep counting out and disrespecting this Indiana team, and they're not that good. Okay, well, you can bet against them when they're having the parade. I mean, that's just how they. A great coach, deadly from 3, 6 guys in double figures. Make all the key plays down the stretch, and you know Halliburton's going to make the shot when it counts.
I will say they're probably not going to get that game again from Moby Toppin.
Oh, true. Good point. That's frustrating, right? When you bet his props, nothing. When you don't, he goes off. But he was great.
So, and he carried the day for him. If he doesn't do that, they don't win the game. And he did, and he was awesome. I doubt he does it again. However, what if the angle here of the Pacers not turning the ball over 25 times in the game, specifically 19 times at half, what if that number cuts in half?
Right.
Or what if it goes down to like 16, 17?
It should.
Then what?
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma City is still leaving them open, and the threes are going in. Again, people just keep expecting that number to come back to the pack. You were screaming from the mountaintops going into the series yesterday, Paulie. They're a really good shooting team overall. They have a ton of guys who can go bombs away. And this is a team defensively that historically the numbers tell you they're unbelievable. But again, the problem is that they will allow the opposing offenses to get a ton of wide open looks from 3.
Yeah.
And so I brought up on the air, should you not be surprised when Indiana misses as, compared to the other idea? And that is you keep being surprised when they go in. Well, that's who they are and what they do again. And those shots do fall. I thought Brian Windhorst was awesome. After the game on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt, he said he was blown away after the game was done because he talked to an Indiana coach before the game started. And the coach basically told Windhorst exactly how the game was going to play out. And they said, look, Oklahoma City is awesome. They're going to probably have the lead for a lot of this game. We're okay with that. Mm-hmm. We like playing in close games. We're better when we play from behind. And once we make a charge at them, They might be a little staggered, might not know what to do, and we feel ultra comfortable in that spot. And he said, all we can ask for as a team is to have the ball in Halley's hands late with a chance to, maybe win the game. And if we're there, we'll take it. And that's exactly what happened last night. And that, by the way, that's not an easy shot, and that's not a typical shot for him to take, although you have to check this out. Somebody on Twitter spliced together. Did you see this?
Yeah, strong.
They put together all 15 shots from Halliburton this year that either tied the game or took the lead in under 2 minutes. He went 13 of 15. It's on Twitter. I retweeted it at Mitch Moss Radio. 13 of 15, Paulie. Final 2 minutes to tie the game or put him up.
Big Culver's fan, too. Loves it.
Who's not?
That's right. Now what do you think? Adjusted series price, $2.90, $3. I saw as high as $3.30, as low as $2.75.
Thunder and 5, right?
Yep. And then SGA is down to $2.80 for MVP. It's getting juicy now. That was excellent. And you didn't see it coming again. It just to come, and I'm who knows? What'd you guys see? The highest I saw was 15-1. But I'm sure it was higher than that, down 9 with 3 minutes. But
yeah,
the highest I saw, like third quarter, early fourth quarter, was 15-1, and they do it again.
Here's the thing. Again, how were they not put away early in that game?
Should have been down 20 at halftime.
Easily. And how was it a 6-point game like in the fourth quarter?
That too. Yep. He's got a lot to think about. And I don't know what he's going to do with his lineup adjustments in the bigs either.
Up next, Game 2 Stanley Cup Final. Players were targeting Major League Baseball. Opposing pitchers are currently on a 15-1 overrun with their K-prop against this team.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
What a busy time in sports. And on top of everything else we've talked about in the first 30 minutes so far today, we get the Belmont tomorrow, and legendary horse racing analyst Jeff Siegel joins the program now, jeffsiegelracing.com, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Jeff, it's a pleasure to talk to you as always, my friend. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me. They're running today at Saratoga on Friday with rain, so we don't know what kind of track we'll be dealing with tomorrow. I think it's supposed to rain again tomorrow, so that's part of the monkey wrench we have to deal with in trying to handicap the Belmont. But it's a great race, and hopefully everybody will show up and run their race.
I'm glad that you said that, because to me, when you look at the field, and it's only 8 horses, obviously, for the running this year, it feels though when you look at the horses that are in it, Jeff, and you're talking about journalism and sovereignty, and then Baeza as well. You throw in Rodriguez and the other 4 horses as well, the Derby and the Preakness winner. I think that this year the Belmont would stack up to most years previously here. Is that a fair statement?
Oh yeah, I mean they've got the best colts in the crop in this race. You don't always get that. Sometimes the Preakness winner doesn't come back, or the Derby winner doesn't come back if he doesn't win the Preakness. But you've got the Derby and the Preakness winner here, and a couple of other new shooters that make it a tough race. So this is an unusually strong Belmont. I think part of that is the fact that I think people like to go to Saratoga, and that's where it's going to be staged as they rebuild Belmont for another year. And then, of course, you've got the shortened trip to 1.25 miles, which they can't run 1.5 miles at Saratoga, so they have to run 1.25 miles. And I think some of these horses might not be in the race if it were the traditional distance. So it all comes together with a terrific race, and I think whoever can win it will be the leader in the division going into the second half of the year.
I'm on the edge of my seat here. You're going to make the case for a long shot. You have the floor. Take it away. Fire.
Well, I don't know if you could qualify this horse as a long shot, because he is 6-1 in the morning line, but at least he's not one of the first 3 favorites, so I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about Rodriguez. This is a Bob Baffert trained colt who missed the Derby because he had a quarter crack in a hind leg. He couldn't train him, and he missed that race. But since then, he's really trained really like a top-class colt. But more importantly than that, or just as important, is the fact that he is going to get a front-running trip that he loves. There's not a lot of speed in the race, and he's got it. He will be the controlling speed. He's 2 for 2 whenever he's able to make the running. He did that in the Wood Memorial in his last start, did it easily. His fast on speed figures, again, I've watched him train at Santa Anita, and he's training unbelievably well. And if they don't respect him, if they leave him alone, and I think that's what's going to happen, I think Rodriguez has a very good chance to make the lead and just keep on rolling. I think he can keep going, especially if the track is wet. Now, he's never run over a wet track, but traditionally a wet track can favor the speed. They're kicking that slop back to everybody else, and he's out there by himself. So I think it could work out really well. Mike Money Smith is the rider who knows him very well. Obviously, Bob Baffert knows how to win classic races. So at 6-1, to me, there is a very good gamble available here on number 3, Rodriguez.
Okay, so you're going to bet him to win it outright. How are you going to play some of the exotics then? What do you want to tag him with?
Well, I think journalism is really good, and it wouldn't shock me if journalism wore him down. That's how good I think journalism is. I thought he was the best colt in the crop way back when I saw him win at Del Mar back in November. He was my pick in the Kentucky Derby. He ran his race. He got beat, but the fast pace, the off track may have conspired. Maybe he moved too soon. I don't know. Came back and won that remarkable race in the Preakness. He's had 3 weeks off now, and he's a fresh horse. I think journalism is absolutely going to run his race, and if it's better than Rodriguez, then he'll beat him. But if not, if Rodriguez can get loose, then maybe journalism can complete the exacta. I'm not that high on the Derby winner here, Sovereignty. I think things went his way, which is one of the reasons why I think he did not run back in the Preakness, because I think that Bill Mott and the people who own him, the Godolphin people, they weren't convinced that by bringing him back in 2 weeks, was going to be in his interest, and also the race shape would be different because they kind of fell down in front of him in the Derby, and I think they felt that the Derby, the Preakness pace would be different. So, but he's a mile and a quarter horse. We know that. I wouldn't be surprised if he came running late and got a piece of it. But to me, the gamble to me is Rodriguez over journalism. That's what I will do.
Okay, excellent. At your intro there, you mentioned that you have the Derby and the Preakness winners both running here, which is rare. But going back, it's been numerous times that the Derby winner has skipped the Preakness. What do you think about people saying we should tinker with the schedule as a result of that?
I don't think it's necessary. I mean, Sovereignty could have run. I don't think they ran not necessarily because it was back in 2 weeks. I think they wanted to bask in their glory for a little bit more than 2 weeks because I don't think they thought they could win the Preakness. But, that's Godolphin. They don't maybe look at things like we would in the States. So I think it's fine. I mean, it's supposed to be tough. It is tough. We've had 2 Triple Crown winners in the last 10 years, so it can be done. Mm-hmm. If you want to do it, you can try it. And I personally think they should just leave it alone.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, longtime horse racing analyst and bettor, Jeff Siegel. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. I've heard a lot of people make the case for Baeza, 4-1 on the morning line. What are your thoughts on that?
I like him, but I think maybe people are going overboard on him. He was a closing third in the Derby. Everybody saw his last 16th of a mile when he seemed to be finishing well, but it was a meltdown in that race. Everybody closed. I mean, the winner came from, way back. The runner-up was way back. The fourth place finisher was way back. I mean, Baeza wasn't doing anything that 3 or 4 of the horses didn't do in the same race. He's already run against Rodriguez once and finished second at Santa Anita, so it's not like he's got some kind of major edge over Rodriguez. And I mean, if Baeza continues to improve, I could see it, but I think, and he's getting a lot of early action on the tote as we look at the prices now. I think he's overhyped a little bit.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, I know a lot of sharp guys that I know like him, so I could be wrong, but I'd want to see more evidence that he can stay close to a slower pace and then make that move than he did in the Derby when he almost had to close by default.
Very good. Love talking to you, Jeff. If you had to make a price on Del Mar versus Saratoga, what would you set it at?
Well, I have been to Saratoga since 1989, so I have to kind of, jog my memory a little bit. I like Del Mar because I can drive down there. So I'm going to go with Del Mar, But I understand the racing is better at Saratoga, so if you're going to go by that, then, I guess you have to give the edge to Saratoga.
Very good. You can follow Jeff on X at J Siegel Racing. Thank you, sir. Enjoy the races. Good luck, okay?
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Getting on the action with our friends at First Bet, playing the free First Bet and VSiN Belmont Stakes Pick'em Challenge. Enter your picks for Saturday's top races to win great prizes, up to a $500 wagering voucher from First Bet. Head over to VSiN.com/Belmont to play, VSiN.com/Belmont. I'm showing Sears is off now, so forget that Rutschman Henderson stuff with the numbers against Sears. And Sinner just beat Joker in straight sets. He takes on Alcaraz Sunday in the final. DraftKings open Alcaraz $1.20. I'm surprised by that. Sinner hasn't lost a set.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah? Ooh,
Yeah.
I'd like Sinner. Okay. And then Sabalenka.
Well, guess what, buddy? Fire away.
And then Sabalenka's taking money now up to $2.20 in some spots tomorrow.
Right. That's
against Coco.
Was that 40 cents?
I saw 180, so yeah. Based on,
I was looking last night before this whole thing, before the men's semi started today. If you parlayed all those favorites, two of them very large, with Sinner and then with Alcaraz, tied it into Sabalenka, it was plus money. Oh, that's because Sabalenka obviously was, minus 180, so you're going to get that with two other legs. But it was going to pay like around $1.18 or $1.19, something like that.
Yep. Good job, Tim McMahon, ESPN. Knicks want to talk to Jason Kidd. What do you think of that? Might have to work out a trade. Although they don't have a lot of picks because they gave up 5 to get Bridges. You have to work out a deal there, kind of like Doc Rivers.
I don't know, Paulie. You're going to go from Tom Thibodeau to Jason Kidd?
Yeah.
Does that feel like it's worth it to you?
What's the relationship? There was a good relationship with Kidd and Freak. It didn't translate to success on the court, but Freak liked them. So that's why those rumors are starting, too, with that stuff, too.
Oh, so they bring over Kidd and then
they
can rekindle the fire that they once had in Milwaukee?
And try to make a big offer to get Freak. And I thought this would happen. There was a mutiny in the locker room, according to reports. The Stars fired DeBoer today after what he did with Ottinger.
I would have bet a lot of money on that happening.
Yeah. He had 1 year left on his contract, too. 7 minutes into the game, he pulls his goalie. 7 games was a large sample size for him, he said.
Mm-hmm. Calls him out after the game as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, your franchise player and goalie.
I build an offer around Chet Holmgren, Kaysen Wallace, picks.
Yeah.
Maybe another player, and I call up Milwaukee and I say, what do you think?
If they lose?
No, even if they win? Even if they win.
You've seen enough.
No. I mean, I think both
He's
parties.
He's a frustrating guy. I mean, is he going to put on weight? Is that possible?
All right, win, lose next. And this is why you have to be feeling damn good today if you're Indiana.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome back. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort Casino. Big game 2 tonight coming up, Stanley Cup Final from Edmonton as the Oilers are small favorites against the Florida Panthers. And we head out here to the Progressive guest line to go to that site as Derek Van Diest joins the program now, covers the Oilers and the NHL for NHL.com. Derek, good to talk to you today. Thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm good, doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You bet. So the series price, when it originally opened, the betting price, it was basically a pick 'em, and then Sportsbook started to take a little bit of money on the Oilers. They turned into a small favorite. And then as we saw Game 1 play out, and I had this thought, the market totally agreed, like this is a pretty dead even series. Game 1 reflects that, I think, as well. Do you think most games in this 7-game series will play out like that with these teams being about dead even?
I think so, but I do think there will be, I think this series is going to go long. I think it'll be a 6 or 7 game series, but I do think there'll be 1 or 2 games in there where one team will really get everything rolling and the other team won't be able to get anything going. Kind of like we saw last year. There was a couple of lopsided wins along the way, but I think it will be tight. But I do think that there'll be a game where Edmonton, for example, gets 3 power play goals and they win 4-1 or 5-1, or Florida the other way around. They get going, they get rolling, and they win 3 or 4-1. So I do think there's a couple of those games in there, but the margins are very tight. They're like these teams. If you look at the rosters up and down the rosters, and you look at the star power, they're very, very close. And then I think you couldn't get a better matchup in the Stanley Cup final than the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers. And not only that, they're both experienced playoff savvy teams. You don't have a young team trying to make a name for itself, maybe like the Oilers were last year. I think you have 2 really savvy playoff teams that know what it takes to get here, know what it takes to win. And I think that's what makes this matchup so intriguing, is that it's not basically David and Goliath. It's Goliath and Goliath kind of going at each other here.
Well said. Did you like Edmonton's game in game 1, and especially how they started out and fell behind 3-1 before the strong finish?
I did. I thought they did well, and I think there's going to be ebbs and flows, and I think they were prepared for that. They're not going to dominate 60 minutes. Florida's not going to dominate 60 minutes. So there's going to be times where the Panthers get pinned in their own zone, and there's going to be times where the Oilers get pinned in their own zone. And I think the Panthers did well to kind of battle back in that game and take the lead. But you could get a sense that they weren't going to be able to shut down the Oilers. Just the way the Oilers were kind of pressing and moving the puck. And then they did put Draisaitl and McDavid together. So that's always something that you have to contend with. So it wasn't surprising that they came back. And in overtime, anything can go either way, but the Oilers kind of dominated that overtime. And I just think that they were a little fresher in that overtime period. They've been sitting at home for a week. Obviously, Florida had to travel, so that in tight games like that, I think that does come into play. And I thought the Oilers utilized their bench a little better than Florida did. They played the 6 defensemen relatively evenly. Florida kind of played 4 guys a little heavier. So I think when games go like that a little longer, I think you just do start feeling it in the legs. So it'll be interesting to see Florida's response tonight.
Then how about this? So both teams had plenty of shots on goal in game 1. This is before it went to overtime. And the result was, 6 combined there before overtime, and then the 7th one, and that would hence put it over the total. Do you think it plays out like that tonight as well, where we're going to get, the chances are going to be there and the shots on goal are going to be plentiful for both teams?
Yeah, I think so. I just think they both teams have so much offense. They have so many good players that can generate shots. They can create their own shot. I think that's the key here, is that they have so many dynamic players on both sides of the puck. I thought Sam Bennett was fantastic. He's a guy that not afraid to take players on. Tkachuk is the same way. Sasha Barkov is the same way. And the Oilers, of course, have McDavid and Draisaitl and guys like that aren't afraid to take players on one-on-one. So I think when you have teams with that, I think you're going to have a high shot total. You're going to have a lot of opportunities in the net. And then you look at both goalies, I think they're both very good. They both played very well, and there were 7 goals scored in the game. Mm-hmm. So I think the higher the shot volume, the more likely you are to score. So I think the teams are getting pucks to the net, getting people to the net, creating traffic. That's how you beat good goalies. And I think that's the strategy going into the day. Just try and get as many people in front of the net, throw the puck at the net, and hopefully get a lucky bounce here or there.
I think that was a little bit fluky in game 1. Did you think that was goalie interference on Bennett?
Yeah, I thought it was, but to me, that's a reputation thing. Like Sam Bennett is a guy, he's a greasy guy. Every team needs guys like that. The Oilers have guys like that as well. Corey Perry's one of them. Sam Bennett's a greasy guy. He's backing into the net and accidentally on purpose falls into the goalie. And it was just one of those situations, right? I think they gave him the benefit of the doubt. But based on reputation, this is a guy that probably shouldn't get the benefit of the doubt. And like I said, both teams have guys like that. Mm-hmm. That's what they do. They're greasy guys. They get under goalie skins. You're trying to kind of create that kind of havoc. I thought had the Oilers defenseman stepped into him and tripped him, it would have been a little different thing. But if he's backing into someone and, accidentally trips over someone's skates and then takes 3 steps backwards and falls into the goalie, I think that should have been taken accounted for. But obviously the referees took a look at it, and good on them for not making a call based on reputation, because I think everyone's like, oh, that's Sam Bennett. He's done it in the past. I think they were just looking at the play and seeing, okay, what do we think happened on the play? And that's how they called it. But yeah, that to me, that that could have easily been a reputation call. We've seen him do this before. It's not a surprise, but that's what makes him effective. He's a guy like that. I thought he had an excellent game one, but I thought it was goaltender interference, and we asked Chris Knobloch about it, and he said, I would challenge that 10 out of 10 times.
Damn right.
Because I thought it was goaltender interference as well.
Yep, it's funny you said that, too. That's what Lundqvist said at the end of the first period on a broadcast about the guy's history as well. Did Knobloch talk about this, or what would you do if you're Edmonton tonight? Would you give the Stars extra ice time with the day off? Extra day off?
I think, that's a very good point. You're right. You have 2 days off between games, and so you can increase their ice time. And I do think a lot of that will have to do with how the situation is, how the game is playing. But yeah, that's a very good point by you, because they have the extra days to rest. It's going to be a long travel day tomorrow, but you have that extra day. So I think if they get into a situation where they fall behind, you're going to see a lot of McDavid and Draisaitl come over the boards. Chris Knobloch likes to play them together, particularly when they're behind. He likes to play them together in situations. After a penalty kill, he puts them out together. After the Oilers penalty kill, he puts them out together to try and generate some momentum. On an icing, he likes to get them together, particularly if it's a fourth line out there. He'll throw them out there together. After a TV timeout, maybe he'll try and get them out there together. So, yeah, that's a very good point. I think he's looking at that going, we have 2 days to recover from this. So, yeah, I can see those guys, their minutes being up significantly tonight.
Derek, if that does come to fruition, then should we all be betting Leon Draisaitl to score a goal again? He scored the last in game one, 2 more. He's been awesome in the playoffs. He's plus 115 in that neighborhood to score a goal tonight.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. And I think it's a situation where, particularly if he's playing with Connor McDavid, these two guys have been playing together for so long. They have almost a cosmic connection that one knows where the other is going to be. And I think the big thing with Draisaitl, he's got such a quick and he's got a quick shot that's really deceptive, because just the way he shoots it, you don't know what part of the stick it's coming off from, and you have no idea where it's going. I think that's what makes him so effective. He he has a couple of particular spots, but he's got a very effective one-timer. It's not necessarily hard, but it's so accurate. And I think he's one of the most accurate players off of one-timer. He can pick those corners. So, yeah, that's a safe bet. If you're picking a guy to score for the Edmonton Oilers, Leon Draisaitl would be the guy you'd pick to score. Yeah. He's the only 50-goal scorer in the league this year. So, he's showing off what he can do and how effective he can be.
To your point, when McDavid found him with that beautiful pass for the game winner, McDavid knew it was good. Like, he didn't even have to look.
Yeah.
Like it was like a no-look pass for an alley-oop dunk. He knew LeBron was going to throw it down with 2 hands, and it was going to be the game winner. What about the same? You brought his name up a couple of minutes ago. Sam Bennett. Been awesome in the playoffs. Leads everybody in goals. Had 2 in game 1. He's like plus 230 to score a goal tonight. Do you like him?
Yeah, I do. I do like him, because I'll tell you what. We saw a lot of Sam Bennett in Edmonton when he was with Calgary, and this is a different guy, like the completely different player when he went to Florida, whether he kind of matured or whether he just developed, was a late developer, or whether the Panthers are utilizing him in a different role. He was fantastic. He was all over the ice. He's one of those guys that you noticed every shift, whether he was hitting somebody, whether he was making a play, whether he was getting a shot on net. He's like, oh, Sam Bennett's on the ice. And I think when that happens, you're being effective. And he's really kind of rounded out his game here, and he's really kind of developed into one of the top players in the league. I was so impressed with him because of what I saw in Calgary. I thought in Calgary it was there, but it didn't come out. So I think he's obviously a good bet to score for the Panthers. He's on a roll, and it's goal scoring is like scoring in basketball. When you're hot, you're feeling it. You want the puck. You want to shoot the puck. Mm-hmm. You want to get into those spots, and I think he's doing that right now.
Final score tonight. What do you think?
Well, like I said, I think it's going to go one of 2 ways, but I do think that the Oilers, that just the atmosphere and the energy in the building, they'll feed off that. I think they're going to win 4-2, 5-2, something like that. I think they're going to win going away. I just think there's a lot of offense there, and the opportunity to go up 2-0 in the series is really enticing. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm really interested to see what Florida has in the tank. That they went through a couple of tough series to get here, but they have a lot of pride in that team. They have a lot of skill on that team, and they do have an outstanding goalie who stole a couple of games from him last year in the final. He's capable of doing that. He's capable of really frustrating the Oilers. So if Sergei Bobrovsky has a big game, I can see it going the other way. But I think it's going to be going away. I think 4-2 or 5-2 for the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
Very good. You can follow Derek on X. He's at Derek Van Diest. Does a great job covering the sport, NHL.com. Thanks, Derek. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate having me on.
You got it.
Yeah, and he was on the Progressive guest line.
Bennett's 18-1 at DraftKings, Conn Smythe.
I took a little bit of him today. Not at DK, but I found him another spot today, 18-1. Had to do it. I'll tell you, it's tough to find updated Conn Smythe numbers at multiple books.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll speak for the state of Nevada. I don't see a single book that offers updated NBA Finals MVP. Maybe they have since the show started, but...
They have Finals MVP, not Conn Smythe, though, you're saying? Or both?
It was rare to find Conn Smythe. I can't find NBA Finals MVP anywhere.
Okay,
Yep.
wow.
All right, today's MLB card is up next. This poor guy is on pace for 20 losses on the season, and another pitcher. It's screaming K's tonight for him.
He knows the quarterback was on coke if his girlfriend was not.
These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's children on these games.
I was so good that whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
You know it, Ace. Great movie. I like it more than Goodfellas. To each his own. Easy winner with the Astros. They took out the Pirates, no problem. Something to monitor. They're in Cleveland tonight. The Astros got in this morning. There was a long rain delay, and then the long game, and then the travel there in Cleveland. Do with that what you want. And a loser. Prop. Thunder to go unbeaten at home in the finals. Bye-bye. They blow the 9-point lead with 3 minutes left in the 15-point lead. It was the biggest they had, and the Pacers again shocked the world. Game 2 tonight, Stanley Cup. Game 2 Sunday, NBA. No hat trick, minus 190, all before the series started. No shutout, minus 130. Under 1.5 games go to overtime. We're in trouble there. Off to a bad start. Florida in 6 plus 475. Bennett to win the Conn Smythe, 30-1. 10 plus goals in a game. No, minus 170. And bad start here. Finals under 5.5 games. Under minus 130. All the pending. To the new. I'm looking forward to this. Bright and early. Sabalenka, minus 180 against Coco. She's up to 220 now, 215. And Alcaraz opened the favorite. Sinner now the favorite at DraftKings. Maybe a Walters head fake. I'll take Sinner, who hasn't lost a set yet in the tournament, to take out Alcaraz Sunday morning in the men's final. Good luck.
I have to say, I'm pretty stoked how excited you are over the tennis.
It's been good.
That's really good.
That second set was awesome today with Sinner and Joker.
Grading the bets from last night. Holmgren, double-double, and lost both, but that was the same game parlay, so that's a loser. I think I'm going to dial back the same game parlays for good. Pete Crow Armstrong. That was a winner live on the show. Over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Hit a 2-run shot when we were live at the end of the show yesterday. That was a winner. Love that kid. He's going to win the MVP this year in the National League. And we'll be dancing in the streets till 3 a.m. NBA Finals, it's off to a bad start here. SGA to average under 33.5 points per game here in the Finals. I did not know that he was going to turn into, 70-shot SGA in this. I mean, it was every single time down the floor. Pal, the guy's breathing on you. You're going to force it from 15 feet yet again? Come on. You need to facilitate a little bit more than that. But also went to the free throw line a lot in the fourth quarter. I still like my bet. I like where I'm at. Okay, some of the bets that I have for tonight. Padres, Brewers, Vasquez against Patrick. Patrick, not a bad start so far this year. His numbers at home are awesome. His numbers, like first time through, second time through the order, very good. Vasquez on the road, the FIP is like 5.4. The whip is 1.5, has a higher walk rate than he does a strikeout rate. His first time through is good. Second time through, not good. So I'm going to go Brewers first 5 here, minus a half, which is minus 110. Yelich, one of the hottest players in baseball. Total base prop tonight is plus 112. When I played that over at Caesars, I think it was earlier today. 458 batting average, 3 home runs in his last 7 games. Soderstrom for the A's, same thing tonight. Over 1.5 total bases, plus 115. I think it's a great matchup for him, and he's been hot. And I tweeted the story out from Mike Somich here at VSiN. He wrote a story back on May 22nd trying to find ways to fade the Rockies in every single game. And now they're at home. tonight taking on the Mets, who just swept them. His breakdown was to search for RBI props, because a lot of the other stuff, like you're laying 2.5 or 3.5 runs, you're going to have to lay, $3 plus tonight with Senga in the game. The home run props are going to be so tiny. The team total on the other side is going to be 6.5 or 7.5 runs. Meanwhile, when the Tigers played there, May 7th and 8th, they played 3 games. One of them was a doubleheader. 10 out of the 12 batters recorded an RBI. The Padres, May 9th through the 11th, 8 out of 12 batters recorded an RBI. The Phillies, 4 games in 4 days, 9 out of 16 batters recorded an RBI. Alonso's number is like minus 140 tonight, but you can still find plenty of Mets players at plus money to have an RBI tonight, one of which is Juan Soto. Okay, Mike, I'm in. I'm tailing. Great. I was looking to find ways to fade Colorado as well. I'll do it this way. Juan Soto over half an RBI plus 105.
Okay. Player props if you want to get involved. Edmonds hitting 440 against Sonny Gray. Rushman 400 against Sears. Henderson 550 against Sears. Freeman has got the highest OPS in St. Louis, 39 games. What he's done, if you want to play his props tonight, Yelich is hitting 430 last 11 games as well. Devers hitting 385, 9 bombs last 26 games against the Yankees. Pirates, Phillies, rain delay. Red Sox, Yankees, rain delay. 1-0 Florida State on top of Oregon State. If you've been injured in Nevada in a car crash, a slip and fall, or because someone else was careless, in moments like that, what you do next really matters. That's why you need Lasso Injury Law in Las Vegas. He's our lawyer. He's fantastic. Not your typical personal injury firm. He's a boutique law office that gives you one-on-one attention. At Lasso Injury Law, you're not just a case number. You're a real person with a real story, and they'll fight for you like family. Al was involved in the largest slip and fall verdict in the United States. He started his firm for a reason. His own brother was permanently disabled in a serious crash, and Al saw firsthand how the system can fail victims. He changed everything, left his business, went to law school, dedicated his life to helping people just like you. 20 years of experience, millions and millions recovered. Al and his team bring passion and purpose to every case, whether you're local or coming from out of state. Al put it simply, when someone's been hurt, they don't need excuses. They need answers, support, and results. Call 702-625-8777 for a free consultation. You'll reach a team that's ready to help. You won't hit voicemail. 702-625-8777. Lasso Injury Law, built on purpose, driven by results. He fights for you. LassoInjuryLaw.com.
Personal experience here. I was involved in a severe car crash 7-8 years ago. I was smoked by a 20,000-pound truck. Didn't know what to do. The engine of my car was cracked in half. I was in some bad shape. And we were on VSiN, right? Like the next day, we're going to be on the air. I'm like, Paul, come on. The medics were there. It was a total whirlwind, by the way.
How fast was the guy going?
Oh, way over the speed limit.
Oh, I can't imagine.
In that area. Fire trucks were on hand. I turn around. I'm like, what? The ambulance is here? I mean, you don't know what's going on. I call Al, I think it was that night, and immediately gets to work. Made me feel like not only like I was at home, but it felt like I knew the guy forever. And it was the first time I ever talked to him. There was no runaround. There was no BS. None of that typical stuff you're going to hear when you have to reach out to somebody when you're in need and you need some help from a lawyer. It was an awesome experience. Both Paulie and I can highly suggest it if you're ever in a pinch, if you ever need some help. He's the man to call.
After Megabucks, the first call, my mom. The next call, Al Lasso. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. When I got one of my accidents, the guy ran a stop sign. And, he's inching, he's trying to look out, can I make it? And then he panics and he accelerates and runs right into me. And he was probably going, I don't know, not even that fast. But I immediately felt the pain right here.
Yeah. I
can't imagine what you were going through.
Well, I felt like, honestly, my first reaction was it smelled like the car was going to blow up. It smelled like the whole car was on fire. So, I somehow have to get my way. And he hit the driver's side. And as you can imagine, the car is completely totaled. I had to try my best to get out of the car at that point because I thought it was going to blow up in a big ball of flames, which it didn't. And thank God, obviously. Yeah, that was something else. I hate to this day, it's difficult for me. And it's a very popular section of town. I'm not going to say where it's at. I still get the willies when I drive back in that area. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, if we're going to go there, then you're going to have to be the one that drives.
Like Buckner walking back into Shea. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, the Suns could be tough in that spot. You never know. No score. Texas and Nationals underway here. Can Corbin keep this up?
Sure he
what
can.
What a run this guy's on.
Yeah, they might. The Nerfy was the angle here tonight, too.
Yeah.
9-1 with the Nerfy so far with him. Very good.
3.3 runs per game, worse than the American League. Texas lost 12 of 16, 9-21 on the road. No shot in the arm getting Seager back either. Damn. What a disappointment this team's been. Are the Astros going to do this again?
Well,
doesn't matter
not.
who they lose. Can't count on Seattle.
I thought it was, I made this bet on Seattle a while back at 33-1 to win the World Series. Banking that this offense turned the corner, and it had for a minute. And at some point, they're going to get all their guys back in the pitching staff. And, just to tread water until then would have been great. And then they're blowing games and they're losing a series and getting swept by Baltimore?
Yeah.
What?
I know.
So the short answer here is yes, probably the Astros, are going to do it again.
Coming up, VSiN Prime Time, Humans and Will Hill. On today's show, they'll be talking UFC 316, plenty of baseball and NBA Stanley Cup as well. Sports Gambling Podcast, Sean Green, Ryan Kramer, 11 p.m. Eastern. Wake up tomorrow for the VSiN Weekend Morning Line at 10 a.m. Eastern as well. Have a good weekend. Lot to bet on. Cash some tickets.